Billiken fans, welcome back. It is the season finale of the Midtown Madness Podcast with Zach Miller and Peter Hale. Before we get going, thank you so much for listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. What a better time than as we turn the page to a new season for you to finally subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's a lot of fun. I think the episodes are a little more fun visually. It's season 4. Finale of season 4. Once again, the Midtown Madness Podcast is brought to you by Two Men and a Garden. Pete, I've said it all season long. I consume a ton of internet content, and some of the sponsorships out there are absolutely preposterous. They're just something you absolutely don't need. And they're useless. They're subscription services that send you a piece of decoration, some random pen holder for your desk. No. You can have that pen holder after you finish a nice jar of Two Men in a Garden salsa. It's local, it tastes amazing, and they've got all the flavors to suit your individual salsa preferences. You can pick up their many products at any local grocery store or online at twomeninthegarden.com, which if you're particular about your salsa, that's where you want to go. Follow them on social media at Two Men Salsa on Instagram and Twitter. And yes, their jars do make excellent pen holders once you clean them out. Pete, every once in a blue moon, our recording schedule works out in our favor. And thank God that you forgot your anniversary and you had to move the recording schedule to tonight because we got non-conference schedule release.
We did, Zach, and I want to set the record straight. I didn't quite forget my anniversary, my 13th anniversary itself. I more forgot to tell you that it was on Tuesday night, and I had plenty of time to do that, and I was distracted. I was out of town this past weekend, and yeah, I am not fully in the zone of Tuesday recording yet. As soon as I get used to it, we're going to go back to Sunday nights, I'm sure, or get back into our regular schedule, our on-season schedule. But yeah, it did work out pretty serendipitously for us this time, and that's because the non-conference schedule was released. We have it, the full thing. We have it in print. We have the opponents, the sites, everything, and yeah, Zach, it created some conversations online today.
Yeah, what was your knee-jerk reaction? Because for whatever reason, I looked at the schedule. By the way, I saw it and then got busy with work, and it was like an hour and a half later, and I still hadn't looked at it. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Wait a minute, this can't happen." But my initial reaction was just, it seems really small. Like it seems like I don't know why though, because it's the same amount of games, I think.
Yeah. I think we still have an exhibition game or two to have on there.
Well, they're both on there though.
No, not exhibit. Those are lower division opponents.
Okay,
I mean, like
okay.
exhibition.
Okay.
Like the ones that will come before that first actual game. I still think we're probably going to have one or two of those to add, right? Because otherwise, you've got. I think we may be short a date or two, in terms of like what you want for season ticket holders, but. My initial reaction was really not surprised at all because we basically knew all but two of these opponents. The only ones to fill in were the two lower division games. And so my initial reaction was just kind of a shrug because I knew what it was. But to see it all together, I think the top line for me is that there's just really not any headliners, right? And it's not going to be the kind of schedule in and of itself that's going to draw people out. It's going to be
you're gonna have to rely on that star power.
You really are
with that marketability of the players.
It's going to be the new coach, the new system, the new players, and it's going to be the fact that the way that the schedule's set up, we pretty much have to win all those home games. So we're not going to have headliners coming to town, but you're going to see a lot of wins. I think if you get season tickets or if you come to a lot of games. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I don't know if you're in kind of the same place at your first glance.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously I laughed initially when I saw the name of the opponent on the 10th.
Yes.
So I don't know, like the schedule, again, I have a weird relationship with my Billiken basketball fanhood. And things like the schedule don't do much for me. Obviously, like big names are going to do something for me, but like I don't get into the nitty gritty with the numbers and stuff. It's just, again, I until I started this podcast, I never saw how the sausage was made in any way, shape, or form. And now I kind of see it, and I'm like, just play some basketball. I want to cheer for my Billikens, you know?
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. I had gone on basically the same rant in multiple episodes before this one, probably a few weeks ago and a few weeks before that, about all of the forces that are kind of leading to this schedule, right? Like what's going on in the power conferences, how few games they actually have, how unwilling they are to go on the road. And when you've got a first year coach at a program and people aren't quite sure how good you're going to be, they don't want to risk going on the road for a game that's not going to boost their net ranking. SLU very well might. They just don't know that, and he needs a season to prove that first, right? Not to mention the some of the games that we were locked into from commitments from last season, going to Illinois State on the road, things like that, that you couldn't do anything about. So there were a few things working against them this season, and I think with those last two spots, we talked about before why buy games have gotten so much more expensive this season. I think rather than play a number 290 team or something at home, they decided to take two lower division games, Zach. And I think we should. Do you want to go through this chronologically or what?
Yeah, I think we can do that. We can run through it game by game as the schedule is
Yeah.
laid out. Obviously the first game of the year, we knew it was the first game of the year. It's the November 4th game against Santa Clara at the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I think what this schedule lacks in home excitement, and of course, home excitement is a huge part of marketing your program, selling
Mhm.
season tickets, all of that stuff. But for the hardcores, there are some really nice either travel games or just kind of quirky event type games, and one
Mhm.
of those being kind of twofold. It's a nice opportunity for a road trip, a road game as a fan, but it's also a quirky little event with the field of 68. So I really like this one, and I'm excited about it just for the spectacle of it all.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a pretty good opponent too. 109 is
Steve
where
Nash still there?
he is. He's their point
Okay.
guard. 109 is
Yes.
where they fell in the Ken Palm rankings last year. They were 20-13. They were a pretty good West Coast Conference team. And we better like that conference because we've got a lot of that on our schedule this season and next, I believe. So yeah, I like the game. I like the location. I did look up whether or not it was possible for me to get out there, and it is, but if I did a like there and back flight that day, it would be like $600. Take a day off work. I'm not sure I really want to do it. I may take some easier games instead, rather than a game where I don't even get to enjoy the sights and sounds of Sioux Falls. Really, I'd
Are
just
there
be going to the
sounds
game.
up there in Sioux Falls? Is there anything to hear?
I've been there before. I've heard there are people who actually really like the town. I can't say in my day in Sioux Falls, I was very impressed with the place. Didn't get a great vibe there. But hey, that was 12 years ago. Maybe things have changed since then.
I mean,
But yeah,
I've changed in 12 years, Peter. I think you can attest to
I have too. I have too. I guess we all do. Maybe Sioux
that.
Falls is no different than us. But I do like the game. I think the venue is unique and everything. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Game two, Zach, is the one that you hinted at before that the name really entertained you.
Yeah, this is just I think it's really bizarre, honestly, because I love the whole like shtick, because I think some people know, and I'm sure you know, is that like I always love to look at like when there's a guy, like say like I played for like Miller University. Like I would have my name on the front and the back. I think that
Right.
stuff is kind of fun. Like if there was a
Right.
guy that like there's a an Irish, he's an what is he, an Irish runner with the last name England, and I just think it would be great if he played for
Yeah.
England. like
Right.
soccer. I don't know. I think that stuff's totally funny.
Yeah, that was a Birmingham, right? There was a
Yes.
recruit, Birmingham.
Yes.
You were like, if he needs to go to UAB and have
Yes.
Birmingham on the front and back of the jersey. But yeah, I guess they say it Avila. Do they say it the same way our player does?
My best. I think it's Avila.
Avila.
Yeah.
So it's a private Catholic school in Kansas City, and I actually remember it along with the other lower division opponent on our schedule, which we'll get to in a little bit. These are the schools that would send me mail like when I was in high school, like after I took the PSATs. You know what I mean? Like you get the
Yeah.
little flyers from colleges and
Like
all of the
Emporia
small.
State.
Exactly. The small liberal arts colleges around the Midwest are the kind of schools I would get it from. Back then it was Avila College, and now it's university as of, the year I started college. So anyway, that's who we're playing. It's a small school, 1,500 students in Kansas City. They are the Eagles. They wear purple and gold, and they're NAIA, which I think is when we played Lincoln last year, aren't they NAIA, if
Yeah.
memory serves?
Oh, it was
So
that wasn't the purple team from Dallas or
They
Texas. They
yeah,
were in AI.
they were NAI. Yeah, that was Paul um Paul Quinn College
Yes.
a couple of years ago. Yeah, so this is another NAIA school. So it's not even D2.
We're gonna be
You know,
playing like 35. We're gonna play, they're gonna be playing dudes my age.
it's it's one of those games where it's just kind of it's everybody stay healthy, don't get hurt,
Mhm.
be careful out there.
Watch out for Bishop Sycamore.
Let's work on some stuff and just have a good game and stay healthy. And those are the kind of games where you also have a chance to break scoring records like we did against Harissa a few years ago. Like points and a half, stuff like that are going to be on the table in this game. But Stu Durando had a funny tweet about how this actually came to be. Did you see that?
I did. So apparently, um, the university, or I guess the Avila, that we're gonna do Avila and Avila, just so we are clear on which
Yeah.
we're talking about.
All right.
Avila made the pitch to SLU after they signed Robbie Avila. There's obviously no relation between the two. It's obviously just a marketing play, but I think it's an opportunity, and and if SLU misses this opportunity, I think they're crazy because nobody's gonna want to come see Avila play. But if you run a promotions around Avila, then I mean you draw people out for like a goggle night, or
Yep.
you know, I got cream cheese night. I don't know what else we can do. I don't cream. I don't I got nothing there, but like I think I think it's a perfect opportunity to sell tickets to a game that you wouldn't sell tickets to. And also, good on SLU, I guess. I mean, in some ways, you would rather this be a Division 1 opponent. I
Yeah.
think there were recently, we can get into it later, but I know as of like a couple days ago, there were schools that were putting out tweets looking for opponents with video.
Yeah. Right.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I would have preferred maybe Bradley or whoever else was looking for an opponent, but this might be a good opportunity for a lighthearted evening of Robbie Avila celebration.
Yeah, I think that's right. The opportunities really are there for this to be a fun game for everybody. It's going to be maybe not a fun game for our PA guy if those are actually pronounced differently. That could be that could make for a long night on the old public address system.
We've got a new coaching staff. We've got new players. Can we get a new announcer? What do we got to do? Like it's my thing has always been this stuff gets stale. Like at bare minimum, like you can complain about Guy Phillips all you want. I will. But again, I'm trying to go to the base level of this where it's literally just time. Like it's time to refresh. It's a time of it's like that. It's like in Dogma when the Catholic Church rebrands Jesus. It's the same thing. We need to rebrand our production.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you there. It's been a really, really long time that he's been around. Our next game, Zach, is on November 16th against Loyola Marymount. This is at home, and we know that this is game one of a home and home that will take us out to Los Angeles next season to play at Loyola Marymount. They were only 12 and 19 last year in the WCC, 187 in the Ken Palm rankings. I think they're probably supposed to be a little better this season. We're a little far from the season before we really have the best season previews and everything. But my understanding is they're supposed to be up a little bit.
Yeah, I just also want to thank Chris Sloan for preemptively allowing us to crash at his place next year for the Loyola Marymount game. Appreciate
That's right.
you doing that for us. No, I don't. Dear Lord. No, I mean, again, this is a name, right? It's a name, but it's not a name, and I like these type of games where the real ones know, if you will, like Loyola Marymount. A college basketball person knows who Loyola Marymount is, whether they're good or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you're not going to get, Power Five teams, get some, mid-major, some low-level teams that have some history.
Yeah, that's right. And for anyone wondering, I do have a little bit of bad news,
Oh
and
God.
that's the star player, at least the star in our hearts, from last season, the big Australian guy, the 6'6", 240 dude with a
Oh,
mullet and
oh,
mustache
yeah, yeah, yeah,
from Loyola Marymount, Kelly Pepe, I think is
yeah,
his name.
yeah.
Leu Pepe. He has graduated. He was a grad student last year, so we're not going to get his flow, not going to get that beautiful mustache mullet combination at SLU this season. But they did only graduate three guys, and should be pretty solid this year.
I was incredibly concerned where you were going with that, like severely concerned.
No, not to be worried. It's not anything too bad. We just don't get that extra. I would have loved to see the pictures of him and Robbie in the same frame, for example.
Oh my gosh, it would have
Yeah.
been that would have been instant like viral nonsense.
College basketball Twitter missed out.
Oh, they did. They really did. Uh the 22nd of November, this one is big, I think, for both SLU basketball and Billiken alumni.
It is, Zach. And I know you're excited about this one. It's the Hall of Fame Classic in Kansas City where we play Wichita State. Kansas City, always a good road trip, right?
Yeah, I think I'm batting 1 for 3 getting thrown out of the Sprint Center now.
That's good for you,
Yeah,
I think.
I know.
Pretty good rate.
It's not bad. No, I love this. Of course, I love an easy drive road trip. And of course, I love when alumni relations throws a rager at McFadden's.
Yeah, I mean if you're making it out there, you can't miss that, right?
No, I mean it is must. It's like it's the social event of the year, I think, for Billiken fans. Besides
Yeah,
homecoming.
we've got a lot of alums out in Kansas City, and it's an easy road trip, obviously, for our local alums. And then, if you're in Omaha or Des Moines or anywhere kind of in that general area, Wichita, it's not a bad road trip from any of those places. So Friday, November 22nd, it's going to be at the Sprint Center, that nice arena downtown. We don't know the broadcast information yet, but as you say, it's always a blast to get out there. So strongly recommend it if you can.
And of course, alumni relations, Annalise Piven does a fantastic job
Yeah.
with putting on those events. They did a great job at Loyola the year before last, and I'm sure if you're listening to this, you've been to at least one of them. So yeah, you guys all
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's good. And it should be a good game too. Wichita State wasn't very good last year. They were a bottom half team in the American, but they do bring back 5 of their top 7 players. They added some 4 transfers, including a 22-year-old Croatian big who is playing professionally. They're going to be an old team. They're going to have 10 upperclassmen who are, rounding out that rotation. So it's going to be a much better team than it was last season that that SLU's going up against out there as well. So for both the social and the basketball aspects, that should be a really nice game.
It feels like Wichita State kind of went on in a different bizarro world way. They went on this path that SLU tread already. Like they kind of tread the same path at the same time, but in different ways. They looked to be, Wichita State had a little bit more sustained success under Greg Marshall
Yeah, no
than
doubt about that.
than SLU did, but like it's like they had that success. It looked like they were going to make a jump, and then Wichita State kind of got stuck in that athletic
Mhm.
or that American Athletic Conference.
Sure.
Like kind of like we kind of got stuck in the A10 while other teams kind of moved on.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. And I mean, some of that has to come with or some of that is the result of a coach coming to such like an abrupt end,
Yes,
at
both of them. Well,
his
both
time.
of
Yeah,
them
right.
in a lot of ways.
That's true for different reasons. They do. I
Yes.
mean, Paul Mills is there now. He was at Oral Roberts before. He's only done one season at Wichita State, and he was really good at Oral Roberts. So I don't, I don't doubt that he's probably the right guy that they hired for that job right now. So there's definitely some good upside there as well in the long term.
Yeah, I think this is a good game. It's a
Yeah.
local. I mean, people still know Wichita State.
Yeah, for sure.
They
For sure. They
travel,
do.
they travel ridiculously well too. And I mean, not that they have to really travel
Yeah.
for this
Yeah.
game, but every time I would go to Arch Madness, they
Yep.
were the up in the top 2 or 3 attendance wise. Yeah.
That's right. And the games that they played, the regular season games we played against them, they
Yep.
showed up at Chaffetz for those as well.
Oh yeah.
They just like coming to St. Louis, but now it's even easier on them going to Kansas City. The
Dude,
next
that
two
that
games
game
that
we lost to them was one of the most miserable experiences of my life. And
I'd
the,
rather
the,
not even think of.
the
Yeah,
one
those
that
were
was in
tough.
the one that was in Kansas or wherever it
Ugh,
was.
those were brutal. Those were
Yeah.
brutal. They had some dudes on those teams.
Oh yeah.
The next two are part of the MTE that we're hosting, and that's November 25th and 27th against Quinnipiac and UMass Lowell, who will play each other on the 26th. Zach, these teams are not bad. I mean, Quinnipiac won 24 games last season in the MAC, the double A MAC, 172 in the Ken Palm rankings. UMass Lowell, 153, even higher out of the America East, 122 games. And as we know, they're capable of A10 upsets. So these are both like solid teams, right? They're teams that will be in the mix to win the conferences that they come from, even though they're lower level conferences.
Yeah, I like these. I mean, you could do so much worse. Yes, of course, you could do so much better. Well, I don't know for a hosted MT, I don't know if you could,
Yeah.
but obviously it's a damn shame that the MTE fell apart that we were planning on being in. So I can't fault the coaching staff too much for this one.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, it's fine.
we got a home game against Jackson State. Pete, I don't know, not much really to go into on this one.
There isn't. Jackson State's a SWAC team. The SWAC is one of those conferences that's typically one of the bottom few in college basketball. It's once you're there, it's kind of hard to get out of that unless you've got a couple programs who all of a sudden get a lot stronger. But these are just not schools or programs with a ton of funding, and that's how it goes. Jackson State did, on the football side, when they had Deion Sanders a few years ago, Coach Prime. They did have a little bit of success there, and they actually do have a really kind of storied football history when you go a lot farther back, and have produced a shocking number of NFL players.
That'd be
But
weird
on
if
the
they
bet,
produced a lot of NHL players.
that would be awesome. Actually, I would
Yeah.
love that. That would be
Well,
the
I mean, there's a history of SLU producing football players when they didn't have football. So
true. Yeah, I guess that's true. But no, so Jackson State, they're going to be around that 300 mark. They're not going to be the worst team in the SWAC or the worst team in college basketball, but you've got to win this game by a pretty healthy margin because they're not going to help the net ranking.
our West Coast friends will enjoy their view of the Billikens against San Francisco in San Francisco on December 5th. I think this is I'm considering making this one.
Yeah, it's a weeknight. It's a tricky one, right? So it's
I think I just got to convince my work to let me work from home on days like that. I've
yeah,
come to if I have the money, like that's all I really need to do to get that. Like if I can afford to make the trip, like
yeah,
all I really need to do is just convince work I can work from home.
yeah. And it's the other tempting thing about this game, and I think with the first time we heard about it, we kind of mentioned this on the show. They have a really cool arena. It's an
Yeah.
old school gym. It's got that kind of like there's a like upstairs downstairs thing going on. Was where you've got the kind of lower lit upstairs that's kind of separated by a wall from the lower bleachers. But it's Bill Russell, man. It's tradition. It's the Dons. It's right in the city of San Francisco. It's a small Catholic school, and it's just there's a lot of tradition there. There's a lot of history. It's a tough place to play, for those West Coast Conference road games. I really like this game, and not only all that, I mean, 23 win team last season. They were 65th in the Ken Palm rankings. Like that's a really quality team. To be in the top 75 out of a conference like that is now it's not easy to do. And I remember them actually kind of tearing it up in non-conference for a while, if memory serves. So this is a really kind of sneaky, tough game, and it's a true road game. And they'll come to St. Louis next year, but I like this one a lot actually. And if we can pick off a win there, that's a big deal.
Yeah, this is a dumb question, but are we there? Like, I feel like you just said San Francisco is a Catholic college. Are there many Catholic colleges that are named the same as the city but aren't like public schools? Like that's like I
Santa
can't
Clara,
think. Yeah, okay. I didn't
Santa
know.
Clara is one.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that. I didn't
I
know
think
that.
it's probably more than you think. Detroit,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
SLU, Santa Clara, San
Told you,
Francisco.
dumb question. Well,
No, not necessarily.
Chicago State. You know.
Chicago State. Yeah, maybe not Catholic, but maybe also not a state. Um, I don't. You're gonna have to give me more time to think of other
Yeah,
ones off the
forget it.
top
That's
of my
just
head. But
that was just an aside.
yeah, no, it's true though. There's a handful.
So how about the Chicago State game? West Pine Bills are sneaky liking this game.
Yeah, they do. It'll give them an excuse to come down from
Yeah.
Chicago and check it out. But yeah, we talked about them before and how they were hanging on by a thread in D1, and they've managed to get a conference affiliation for this season, which they haven't had in a long time, and it's much needed. They've got that big arena on the south side of Chicago. I drove by it on my way out of town the other day, and it's just it's one of those kind of plucky little programs I'm rooting for. I hope they kind of find their footing financially as a school, as an athletic program, and I hope the new conference affiliation. I kind of wish they were in the Horizon, had a little bit easier bus league, but I hope it works out for them nonetheless. All of that being said, it's kind of hard to predict where they're going to be this season. They were probably better than a lot of people thought they were going to be last season for a while anyway. I think they were good early in the year. They finished 13 and 19. They play almost all road games. They were independent. It's hard to do. So they were 295 in the Ken Palm rankings, which isn't great, but they definitely have a chance to be better this year than that with a conference schedule with more home games. I think they might have a little more stability finally as a program.
Staying in the state of Illinois, this one will also please the Chicago West Pine Bills crew. At Illinois State. This will be the
Yeah.
return game from last year.
Yeah, easy road trip if you're in Chicago or Indianapolis or St. Louis. A couple hours from each of those, and yeah, you're right. It is the return game. We were kind of locked into this one. I don't think it's a road game that our staff would have picked. I don't think it's a road game necessarily that the last staff wanted, but it's what we could get at the time. Illinois State wasn't great last year, Zach. I remember scouting that game beforehand and liking a lot of the players, being somewhat familiar with a lot of the players on their roster. But then when they came and played, they just didn't all come together very well. So hard to say where they'll be this year. I think a lot of those guys moved on. The roster looks a lot different. So I don't really know what to expect, but we played them very early on last year, and I was just not impressed at all. They finished 15 and 17 overall, and they were 179th in the Ken Palm rankings. So you would hope that they're better than that, but I just don't know what to predict there.
Next up will be a 12-18 date with Wofford. I believe they're the Terriers.
They are.
Um, and this is one of those teams, again, like a Loyola Marymount, that you kind of think about when somebody says March Madness. If you were to just start naming off random teams that made you think of March Madness, I might throw Wofford in there.
Yeah, they are. They are that kind of team, aren't they? They're always
They
kind of
just
a.
pop up in the bracket, and you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, that team. I remember them.
I kind of like them as a 13, and every
Yeah.
once in a while they can pull it off. They've got they've got a decent roster. They've got a couple guys that we had recruited in the past. One of them named Jackson Civils from Paducah, Kentucky. He was at Murray State for a while, but they're they're okay. They were last year they were 193 in Ken Palm, 17 and 15 overall. I like their conference. It always feels like one of the teams coming out of that conference is that dangerous kind of 13, 14 seed in March. It's been Mercer in the past. It's been Furman. It's been them. It's a lot of East Tennessee State, Chattanooga. A lot of those teams at any given year, even though none of them really sustain it, seem to be pretty good. So I think that's always been an underrated conference. And yeah, just kind of looking through the rosters, they've got a decent amount of seniors. They've got a decent amount of transfers. I think that's probably true of everywhere. Um, and not a ton of size. So I don't know. It looks like they're probably going to be about where they were last year, if I had to guess, a little bit over 500. It's a team we definitely got to beat at home. That's for sure.
The next one on the list is an interesting one because we're literally playing a cult. Now, this one will actually be interesting because I think it's the single toughest matchup in the non-conference because it's on the road at an arena that fakes their atmosphere.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a tough place to play. They give their students credit to attend, like college credit to attend games. Um, it's the Grand Canyon, and I think this one's gonna be tough, man.
Yeah, I mean, we've made fun of this school in the past, and obviously everything about it annoys me. From the fact that they're right in the middle of Phoenix, and they call themselves Grand Canyon, which is like hours away from there, right? Like, so from the jump, it's misleading, like what they are.
It'd be funny
That's
if their campus was inside the Grand Canyon.
it would be a real shame ecologically speaking,
Yes,
but
yes, it would
it would be
be
an
weird.
interesting place to play. It would be an
Yes,
interesting place to play. But as much as we like to make fun of these guys, they are not really a joke basketball wise. They're crazy coach Bryce Drew has them playing really well. They were a 30 win team last season, which is kind of shocking to say, and that's pretty hard to do no matter what conference you're in. They're in the WAC, which is a really strange one. But they didn't lose many games. They lost at South Carolina. Oh, actually, sorry, that was on a neutral court. And then they didn't lose again until they played Seattle on January 20th. So they lost one non-conference game. They wound up losing a couple road games in their league. And then in the NCAA tournament, they beat St. Mary's in the first round by 9 before losing to Alabama, Final Four team Alabama, by 11 in their next game. So this was a very, very good team last season. I think 52 in the Ken Palm rankings actually feels a little low compared to what they actually ended up doing and kind of feeling like. That feels like 10 or so spots lower to me than they should be. So I think they're going to be good again. I don't know if they're a 30 win team, but they're not to be taken lightly. And the fact that we have to start this home and home series on the road is unfortunate because I guess the best part for us is that it's late December, right? Like it's by this time our guys have been playing together longer. I think I would pencil this one in as a loss absolutely if it were a November game. but the fact that we're playing a little bit later gives me at least a little more confidence that we have a shot here. So you're right. This is the best game on the schedule.
Last but not least, certainly not least, is Bill Woods University.
William Woods, another
Yeah.
one of those schools that used to send me mail when I was a junior in high school. Yeah, what can you say about William Woods? I believe they're D3, Zach. Do I have that right?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I got like asked to play for William Woods tennis at one point.
They they used to be an all-female school back in the day, like a longer time ago, and it looks like now they are NAIA. Okay, so
Well,
two
they're definitely
NAIAs.
co-ed.
They're definitely co-ed now. Yeah, they have been for a while. Um, William Woods College. I can't tell when it went
It's it will,
co-ed.
but it is William Woods University now.
It was William Woods College until 93, 92. And they go by the Owls.
The
They're
Owls.
dark green and maroon,
Okay,
which I
I
kind
like
of like.
that.
I do. I like that too. It looks pretty sharp,
It's
actually.
it's a little it's a little it's kind of like Wash U in a little but like a little deeper.
Yeah, the darker version of WashU. And I know green and red are not always the most friendly color combination for colorblind people. I know multiple people who would
Oh
not be able to
Jesus.
see those colors together. They wouldn't see numbers or letters on a jersey. But anyway, yeah, this is look, it's an NAIA game at home, and it's just like the other one, right? The other Avila College that we're playing earlier, University, sorry. Um, it's you just want to get as sharp as you can in this essentially scrimmage and not get hurt, like we saw with Javante Perkins a few years ago against Rockhurst. So yeah, just stay fresh, stay healthy, and hopefully the guys who don't get many minutes get more minutes in a game like that. But it's our last tune-up before conference play, and I think that's another important factor about this one.
So are we giving this schedule a thumbs up, thumbs down, poop emoji? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I almost want to just give it an incomplete and
Yeah.
just say we'll grade you next season. Like I didn't think they were going to pull a rabbit out of a hat and give us like a marquee, like an Auburn or Arizona or some of the like power conference games we've had at home in the last however many years. Um, I didn't think they were going to be able to do that, but at the same time, there really isn't much draw here in terms of names on the schedule, and that's always been a struggle since we joined the A10, with the exception of your Xavier's and Dayton's and some of the teams that we had or still have. There's just not a lot of opponent draw to Chaffetz, right? So it has to be a team that uh, runs, maybe not runs the table against the schedule, but we really have to win a lot of games here. We don't have much margin for error. If we're trying to get an at-large bid, we really can't lose at home. If you're looking at this schedule, and we're going to have to, pick off some neutral and road wins as well, and then put up a pretty big number in conference. So there's a lot of pressure to win a lot of games here. There's a lot of potential to do that. But there's just not a lot of upside, unfortunately.
No, I agree with you. I think this is a schedule it's not a sexy schedule. It's a very milk toast schedule. But I think there are opportunities for good wins. You're gonna have to win, like you said, you're gonna have to win a lot at home, and you're gonna have to pick off, San Francisco on the road. Uh, you're definitely gonna have to beat Wichita State neutral. So not ve- there's almost no margin for error at home, and very little on the road.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Uh, let's get into recruiting, Pete. Your bread and butter, not to be confused with 2 Men in the Garden bread and butter pickles. Uh, Jordan Tillery. He's scared. We've seen this kind of movie before, though, Pete. The recruit schedules a visit for a month or so out, and he never makes it to campus.
Yeah, what makes me a little more optimistic here is that there's a few other schools he's saying he wants to visit, but he hasn't scheduled those yet. So the fact that we actually have dates for him, to
Mhm.
me means at least something. And yeah, Jordan Tillery, just to kind of refresh memories, he's somebody we offered a few weeks ago out of IMG Academy in Florida. He's a 6'5" guard, nice player. And he's also going to be visiting Seton Hall and maybe a couple others. But like I said, he hasn't scheduled those yet. I think this is a kid we'd probably take a commitment from if he's a good fit in every way, right? I think the other schools that are involved in his recruitment are certainly suggesting that he's a player with power conference potential and everything. So yeah, it's one that you're excited to see that he's coming to visit. And like I said, we're at least on the calendar. It might not be for 4 weeks, but I'd like to see actual dates there.
Isaiah Sealy is going to visit the 14th and the 16th.
Yeah, of September, to be clear. Yeah, so that one,
I
I'm
buried the lead, my fault.
I'm a little more worried about that one because number one, he's a higher rated player. He's a 4-star. He's a top 100. He calls himself a guard and he's 6'7". He's a kid from Springdale, Arkansas. And one of the schools that has just gotten really involved with him is Arkansas, which means John Calipari is trying to get him out for an official visit. So they're working on scheduling that. I think he just visited Ole Miss. And he's planning to visit Cal as well, head out to Berkeley. So it's going to be tough going head to head with Coach Cal and a bunch of other power conference programs. But hopefully, Zach, we can get him on campus before he gets too attached to any one of those. Because this kid is a real talent, and I think he's somebody we would see play as a freshman for sure.
Let's close the book on a few offers that the Billikens had out. Looks like about 5 players made commitments not to St. Louis University.
Yeah, so Isaiah Medina is going to DePaul. He's a 7-footer as a class of 2025 player. And then Damone King is one who had planned to take a prep year at Hargrave Military Academy. We talked about him, I think last week we offered him. But he's actually going to stay in the class of 2024. He's already graduated high school and he's going to go to Rhode Island. So that one caught me off guard a little bit. I didn't expect
If
him to stay
Archie
in
is
conference.
there.
If Archie is there, I guess that's a good point. Well, wait a minute. No. Sorry, because he's going to campus like now,
Oh,
right? So
oh,
that's the rub here. Is he's not
wow.
he we offered him as a class of 2025 player, assuming that he would take that prep year at Hargrave. He said, I guess maybe Rhode Island offered and said, we can get you here now, because you're eligible. So if you're ready, we are. So I think he decided to go ahead and start his college career now rather than wait a year.
Good
So
for him.
yeah, kind of an interesting change of plans suddenly, but we'll see him very soon, actually. Another one, Ian Inman listed his top 5. SLU wasn't on it. Trey Singleton dropped his top 8, and it didn't have us either. His stock has exploded since SLU offered like 6 weeks ago, and it's all power conference programs. So not a lot we can do there if he wanted to go big. And then Kareem Stagg announced his 6 finalists on Tuesday, and it also didn't feature the Billikens. But he already had a pretty crowded, high profile recruitment by the time we were in it. So not a big surprise with any of those. They were either guys we offered very recently or just never really felt like we were in the mix.
Um, the social media game that SLU has had out there uh, has been really, really good. Uh, they recently put out the Kellen Thames A Day in the Life, Pete.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I think I probably messed up on this one, Zach, because I had planned on watching it before the show.
He forgot about
And
his anniversary, so then he forgot to watch the video.
no, what happened was my wife took this week off work. It's between the kids' summer camps and school. She took the week off work. We were going to go on vacation and just canceled it. So I'm working and she's at home with the kids all day. So I got home from work today and she was like, "They're yours until you record the show tonight." So rather than getting to like fine tune the notes and watch and catch up on Twitter for the day and watch this thing, as I had planned, I did not get to watch it yet. So I see that
Pete,
it's 5 minutes long.
Pete, I'm disgusted that you would not watch this video when I certainly did not watch it.
So then the real mistake here was adding it to the notes. What I'm going to do, Zach, is
No, I look. I think it's like honestly, without watching it, like this is great stuff.
it is.
It absolutely is. This is exactly what we wanted last year. I am thrilled they are going above and beyond. I think above and beyond in some ways, with social media and with content. My one nitpick is that I wish they find a different format than the baseline, the walking the
The
baseline.
walk in the baseline. I'm not a fan of that format either.
Walk through campus. We got a beautiful campus.
Is that is it Jay Billis who started that?
Yes. Yeah. However,
So
no, however long it takes you to cross Grand, that should be, you should do the interview and you got to press the button and wait for it to say go. And that's how long the interview lasts.
yeah.
That's my pitch. No, I think you should walk through campus. It's a beautiful campus. Show it off.
So this day in the life, we're starting out. We've got a little bit of him getting some shots up. We've got him getting a meal in the Champion Center. We've got him kind of shooting the breeze with Larry Hughes Jr. a little bit. We've got him and Coach Shirts for a little bit. We got him going out to Pattonville High School, which I recognize.
An average day in the life.
Doesn't look like it
I
has
always
changed
love
a
these
bit.
though. I do love these though, when it's like, because like social media influencers will do it and stuff, and
Yeah,
they'll be like, "This is a day of my life," and then they'll like be in like Amalfi Coast, and you're
right.
like, "Shut
Yeah.
up."
Yeah, this is not every day in the life.
Yeah, no.
So he's at Pattonville. He's getting some shots out with his dad, who throws him a lob off the glass at one point, and then we get a little bit more of an interview at Pattonville, and then he's back on campus. Looks like he's showing off a few of his favorite things, and that's it. So that is my fast
I
forwarding
mean, really,
watching through it.
what else do you need to know? That is that you don't even need to go watch it now.
I am actually going to watch it because now I'm curious about what was said in some of those clips. But no, shame on me for not watching this a few days ago when I should have.
They called you out by name in those clips. That's the dirty secret.
We wish, right?
Yes. Actually, well, before we get out of basketball, we got to shout out. I got to pull up the name. We do got to shout out the U News at some point.
Oh yeah,
Because we
that's
didn't do
right.
that. But closing the book on, I get, does this now finally close the book on coaches from last season?
We've got a few more who are still we don't like Brad
Jesus.
it's other staffers, right? It's
Yeah.
Brad Lewis, Thomas Zagua.
Ziagua.
There's a couple others who we don't know what they're doing yet. But yeah, Charles Thomas was hired as an assistant coach at Little Rock. We found out today. So I figured he would land somewhere. I'm surprised it took this long for him to find a landing spot. But a guy with his experience, you knew he was going to be a valuable assistant somewhere.
Man, this would have been the shortest episode in our history if
I
the
know.
schedule would not have come out.
Trust me. I was like these. I'm looking at these notes thinking, man, they're pretty thin.
You know what? That reminds me. You know what is just, it just goes away so quickly? The 2 Men in a Garden salsa. And you have created a Frankenstein from our listeners of 2 Men in a Garden products. And I gotta be honest, I need to apologize to our listeners and the people who follow us. I was not familiar with your game. You guys showed up for this poll, and I'm super proud of you all.
Yeah, I was happy with the engagement here as well. I didn't really know what to expect, but I for 2, 3 weeks I was saying I was going to do it, and I finally just remembered to sit down and do it. And a couple dozen people voted on all of these, and it was fun, and I'm glad they did. And luckily, we didn't get any ties. But I put it out there, Zach, that I was going to have people who follow us, listen to us, whatever, vote on what I should put in my next order from 2 Men in a Garden. And I am gonna stay true to my word. I'm going to order the exact things that they asked me to. So I first said we need one fruit salsa. It's summer, and hot mango won that one. We got almost half of the vote, with strawberry and peach splitting the rest. So hot mango it is. And then I said, how hot are we going on the next jar? Mild, medium, hot, or screaming hot? Medium
I voted for
finished
screaming
first.
hot.
I figured you did.
Also, I realized that I should have voted better to what suits me, since I
Oh,
will be up in Cincinnati, likely digging through the salsa in your fridge.
not if I get to it first.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I'm saying. We need to hold off on you ordering this.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway, sorry, go on.
so they gave me medium is what and it's funny now that you say that. I didn't actually think to vote in this myself. I could have given myself, like, just
A little
fixed
bummed.
it a little bit,
A
given
little
myself
bummed.
what I wanted.
All
But
your
they
burner
they
accounts.
gave me medium for out of the four heat levels. And then for pickles, I put the dill bread and butter smoky barbecue and spicy dill up there. Spicy dill was the winner, not by a lot, but it was the winner. Traditional dill came in third, bread and butter second, smoky was a distant fourth. And it's interesting because I thought people might pick some of the kind of more unusual
I went with bread and
flavors.
butter.
Yeah. A close call with those two. Pickling pouches, I think I'm going to buy more than one of these because I talked about what great results I got out of them last time. And real deal dill was the winner here over smoky chipotle, although I'll let people in on a little secret and I'm going to load up on both of those actually, especially real deal dill, but I'm also going to throw some smoky chipotle in as well. And then I said, what did we miss? Because there were some extras that I did not uh, you have room for. Twitter limits you to 4 options in a poll, and some of them had 5. So, darn spicy dill pouch didn't do very well. Neither did the medium sugar-free salsa. So, medium cantina style salsa is getting added to the box. That by far won. Bread and butter kickers were the other one in there. And then last but not least, I put in their Kitchen Hub partner products. I put in Antonino's marinara sauce. I put in float trip pickles, relish, and jalapenos they have, coconut butter, and pistachios. I was surprised that the pistachios came in last here,
Yeah, I
but
voted pistachios.
yeah, that's that. I would have expected that to win, but what won was Antonino's marinara sauce, and I'm not complaining. I just need to figure out how to get some toasted wraps to put in that stuff. So, that's going to be the box, Zach. It's the marinara. It's the cantina style. It's going to be medium hot mango. For the salsas, it's going to be spicy dill pickles, and then real deal pickling pouches. I'm probably going to put a whole bunch of those in the box and go to town with some experiments in the coming weeks. So that's what I'm getting from Two Men in a Garden. And you should head over to twomeninthegarden.com right now and go ahead and put in an order for yourself. You can match what I'm doing. You can do your own. Ask us for suggestions. At this point, I've had pretty much everything they offer. So I'm excited to dip into this stuff. I'm going to place my order as soon as we stop recording. Twomeninthegarden.com.
By the way, again, thank you to Two Men in a Garden who are re-upping with us for next season. And I think we are going to work out a promo code. That way they can our listeners can really put a dent into the numbers there and
Yeah,
really show Joel and the guys over at Two Men in a Garden what our listeners can do.
absolutely. Yeah, make it
Uh,
worth it for all of us.
Pete, it was a bittersweet ending. Well, maybe it's just bitter. I don't know. It's bittersweet ending to the Olympic soccer competition for the U.S. Men's under 23 team and our boy Patrick Schulte. It was a 4-0 loss to Morocco, who should not have even still been in the tournament after their fans committed acts of hooliganism. I'm just saying, they're lucky. Morocco was given a phantom penalty call, gifted a PK for the first goal. Schulte almost stopped it. Actually, he almost, there was 2 PKs, wasn't it? Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
well, there was the
yeah,
one at the end.
yeah. He
Yeah.
nearly stopped both. But Elias Akomak scored in the 63rd minute to make it 2-0. PSG player Ashraf Hakimi scored the third, a low one from the top of the 18-yard box. Schulte had a good angle overall, but Hakimi went near post with it. And of course, that aforementioned PK, that second PK in stoppage time, made it 4-0. This was surreal, Peter. the whole tournament for them.
It was. I mean, just to see him out there, a local guy, a SLU alum, most of all,
A guy we've watched we watched him for 4 years.
a guy we've watched and a guy we've talked to and all of those things. And it was awesome, Zach, to see him out there, and to really, he was the goalie. He was the guy who played all the minutes. And I thought for the most part, he acquitted himself really well. I think there's probably a couple goals throughout the tournament that he'd like to have back that he would have, played differently or whatever. I think the team was okay. They were a little bit of a mess at times and they looked a lot better at other times. They kind of did what the US normally does. They got out of the group and lost in the knockout round pretty quickly. But it's okay. Overall, this is like in line with kind of what I expected for the tournament out of a team that, quite frankly, I haven't seen most of these guys play a lot. So I think Schulte overall did pretty well.
Yeah, I think I probably would have predicted a bronze medal. Weirdly, I don't know. I just felt like it was weird because you're watching that first half of the Morocco game, and it's like there have to be just thousands or hundreds of thousands of U.S. fans watching that game, with just scared out of their mind. But you've got SLU fans who know that Patrick Schulte's back there, and obviously it ended up 4-0. But I mean, you felt comfortable with him in net,
Mhm.
having to make those saves that he's not expected to make.
Yeah, that's right. And the big question now is how did other scouts and how
Yes,
did other teams and programs and eyes, especially from Europe, see him?
yes,
Did they see something that was kind of like, all right, we're looking for a keeper, we're looking
yeah.
for some depth or whatever, we're looking for a younger guy in net, our guys getting up there, whatever the case may be. I do wonder what's next for him because as you and I and some of our guests have said recently, is he's been nothing short of awesome at Columbus. And I think there are big things in his future. It's just a question of when and where and how soon.
Yeah, and I really hope it's not before the 22nd of August, because I am now going up to Philadelphia to see a friend, and the Columbus is playing up against the Union that weekend.
Yeah.
So now
And
I have a Patrick Schulte game on the calendar twice,
mhm,
and he may not be at both of them.
he just needs to wait, what, about
Yes,
5 more weeks?
I
We
think
got about 5 more weeks
well, no, what is the transfer window, is ends on the 14th.
of
I think,
September.
yeah, oh no, August.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
Okay.
gonna
So
know.
1 week.
Yeah, we'll know pretty quickly
Yeah.
what's gonna happen there. Another Billiken alumni, instead of going away to Paris, he's coming back home. And he scores his first goal for St. Louis City. Simon Betcher, ladies and gentlemen.
We talked about him coming back last week, and now he's already got his first goal. It happened on Sunday night in a 1-1 regulation draw in the League's Cup against Juarez. That Juarez eventually went on to win in PKs, unfortunately. But Zach, I thought this was a really nice goal.
Yeah,
It-
yeah. I mean, I thought it was brilliant. It was an amazing, um, near post run.
yeah, it was. He just snuck his way through the box on that corner kick. I can't believe how, he kind of caught everybody flat footed on that one. And just put a really nice touch on it off his shin to redirect it into the net. Like you said, near post. And that was just a really lovely, smart, aggressive play by him to make that happen and put St. Louis up 1-0 at the time. But yeah, unfortunately, they didn't hang on for the win.
Um, Another Billiken in the pro soccer or football ranks, Tim Ream. We talked about the rumor a while back. Ream is officially heading to Charlotte. His contract with Fulham goes through 2025. It is a free transfer, so no transfer fee there. They're just signing him as a pseudo free agent.
Gotcha.
Um, in 9 years at Fulham, he made 312 appearances and became a fan favorite. And Pete, you put in fan favorite. I gotta say that is an understatement. The man is a cult of personality over there. Maybe surpassing that of Brian McBride.
I didn't really put into perspective until today when you start to see all the social media posts and like Men in Blazers, they were just gushing. Like they love Reem,
They
and
love him. They love
just
any
just
American though.
that's
So
true. That's true. But just gushing about like who he is as a player and person and how much he means to Fulham. And I know it's been called Full America at times because they've had so many American players over the years and they've been pretty good over there, the ones they've had, right? And Reem has an argument to be the most important one of all. I mean, 312 appearances over almost a decade. And you think about like some of the stuff we've seen come across social media over the years, like him surprising, special needs kids and things like that, and just spending a lot of time with kids in the community and how much he's done for them off the field. He seems like just such a great high character dude. He's been a leader there. He's been a leader for the men's national team. It's kind of a shame to see him go to Charlotte and not come home to St. Louis. I know it's not possible to get everybody locally back home, but just a really cool career he's put together and still going. At all going on 37 years old.
yeah. I think he's it's a testament to will to
Yeah,
succeed, hard work, um,
absolutely.
putting in the time, persevering. I mean, you go to the MLS, you could have been like, okay, this is my career. The MLS is it. This is as high as I'm going. But I mean, he played in a World Cup, I believe. I think, yeah, yeah, he
Yeah.
played in a
Oh
World
yeah,
Cup.
yeah, 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 for sure.
Um, I didn't want to say that. I said that, and I was like, whoa, did I get that wrong? Because I look stupid if I got that wrong. Um, no, I think. We don't know when the debut will be yet. Still finalizing details. However, it was reported somewhere that the first game he would be eligible for would be against New York Red Bulls, which would be his. I think the only thing less. I think the only thing more poetic than playing the Red Bulls in his first game would be obviously playing City at City Park in his first game, which I don't
Yeah,
think
for sure.
that's a possibility.
No, I'm gonna look up their schedule right now, but yeah, I don't think they've officially said when he's gonna be starting.
Um, But speaking of St. Louis City, we know that the Bronze Boot will be held at City Park. Pete, we discussed how disappointed and frustrated we were. We both attended the Bronze Boot this past season at City Park. We zeroed in a lot on the marketing and overall lack of attention paid to the event by Billiken Athletics. I really was pleased this morning to get an email promoting a free tickets for women's for the men's soccer games coming up, and also the bronze boot ticket sales. So I think this is a step in the right direction, Pete. I really hope they're going to continue to do this, continue to keep pimping out this game. I would really love it if they made it a big fucking deal on campus for students. Get shuttles, just pack them in, do whatever you got to do to get kids over to this game,
Yeah.
and make it as raucous as humanly possible. Uh,
Yeah, I thought it
yeah,
was a great time last year. I mean, you and I were both kind of mystified at the lack of buzz from SLU leading up to the game
yeah,
and just how much more of a presence SIUE had within the stadium and outside the stadium and all that kind of stuff. It was strange actually. You just expected it to kind of be the other way around or at least somewhat even, right? This game has been a big deal historically, and I think they need to play that up. And this is a chance for a lot of people to go see a game there who it might be tougher to get a game to a city,
yeah,
top team match. And I know City 2 plays there and everything, but this is a really good opportunity to go see two local teams. A lot of kids who have played high school ball in the St. Louis area, who have friends and family around. The venue cannot be better. I think it's a beautiful stadium. This game is on a Sunday as well, not a Saturday. So I think that's going to make SLU, I think they need to put a little even more effort into it to make sure that people are getting out there and drawing as well as they did last year. Because I thought the event last year was great.
Yeah, I think they need to obviously get the students out there. I'd love to see a pre-match party with swag for students, scarves, face paint, all the works.
Yep.
And they definitely need a in stadium presence. There was just nobody around, nobody
Right.
out there to sell tickets, season tickets to the soccer teams. It was just the Billiken. He's got to be out there for photo ops. I know it was hot as balls last year,
Yeah.
but you just have to you got to put in the work. That's all I'm
The,
saying.
the women's team is coming into the season, as we'll talk about, with a lot of hype. The men's team should be very good. SIUE last year, by the way,
They beat
was
us.
awesome. They beat SLU's, the men's team, I should say. They were one of the best teams in the country last year, and this is a good game. This is a really good game, quality game for both the men and women.
Speaking of the women, or sorry, first of all, the men will. I can't believe I'm saying this, Peter. In 3 days now, 2 days now, as you listen to this, the Billikens will kick off their men's soccer campaign with an exhibition match at Omaha, Saturday the 10th at noon.
Zach, it's like 91 degrees where I am
Dude,
today. It's
it was like 75 all day today.
it
So,
but to me mentally, I'm still like, it is the thick of summer, and you're telling me that like soccer season starts this weekend.
oh yeah.
My kids' school years start next week. I'm like, this snuck up on me so fast. I'm not ready for it. It's August 7th, and it's, like I said, blistering hot here in Cincinnati anyway. And yeah, I just cannot believe how fast this has come along. But I can't wait because I'm so excited to watch both of these soccer teams this season.
Yeah, on the women's side, they will also kick off their exhibition slate on the 10th. This one will be at 5 p.m. As you kind of alluded to, the Billikens are ranked number 12 in the preseason poll from the United Soccer Coaches poll. It's the highest preseason ranking in program history. I don't think that's a surprise.
No, they normally play their way up the rankings over the course of the year. So, is there upside to this ranking? Possibly. Sure. I mean, they were really, really good last season. Like
Yeah.
they felt like they were right at this spot, right? Like a on the cusp of a top 10 team. They almost played their way into what, the Elite Eight.
Mhm.
Like they were just a player or two away from it. And so this feels about right. They bring a lot back. I think I told you, I can't believe Lindsay Heckel's back. I was certain that she was gone, and here she is back for another season. And it's just ridiculous how good this team could be again. So this is really exciting to me.
Yeah, they've added, there was some obviously coaching turnover with our guy Chris
Yep.
Allen moving
Yep.
on. By the way, happy birthday to Chris Allen. The soccer coach, not the American Idol singer. Um, I know people were confused. I just needed to.
I have no idea who the American Idol singer is.
He did.
So
I think he covered Bon Jovi in his final song.
I would have
Don't.
voted him out immediately just for that
Yes,
choice.
yes, 100%. Screw the Philadelphia Soul. Um, God damn it. Uh, BYU and Penn State are ranked number 3 and number 4, respectively. Both of those teams come to Herman this season and really quickly on this schedule, too. As you mentioned, Lindsey Heckel still on this team, named defender to watch by the United Soccer coaches as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
but also Percelli was named a goalkeeper to
yes,
watch as well,
I
and
wonder what her prospects are within um, the national team situation.
yeah, I'm curious too.
Because she's a great goalie. I wonder how much of her, like, being a great goalie is overshadowed by the fact that she doesn't get much work.
Yeah, yeah, her backup Walterman, it feels like, faces more shots than she does because she'll come in with the
Yeah.
younger players in like the 72nd minute, right? And then all of a sudden you've got younger players in front of you, and they wind up with more shots than Percelli faced in a whole 70 minutes before that. So yeah, it's a good question, Zach, but I gotta think there's a future for her in this women's pro league.
Yes, I agree. Um, Pete, run us down some baseball and softball news real quick, and then we'll get to field hockey and tennis, which is a bit of a an interesting situation, I think.
Yeah, so Zach, we've got a little bit of news for baseball regarding outgoing transfers. Brock Graff is going to Holy Cross. Max Babich is going down to D3, the Milwaukee School of Engineering, which I have not heard of before. But thanks as always to Okie Billiken for these updates. And by the way, congrats on your Max McGuire card arriving. There's
How
always,
did somebody's got to explain these college sports cards? Who
I
makes
think
them? Where do they
that
come from?
that might have been for like a semi-pro. Was that in his college uniform, or
I
was that for
don't
one of
know,
the?
but you
Okay.
get these like he gets these Simon like a Simon Bench. Like where do they who's making these cards? Like I didn't realize cards were still like hot in the streets.
He finds them for every Billiken who's ever played pro anything. So anyway, maybe we should have him on to ask him how he's getting those.
Uh
It's kind of incredible. Um, on the softball side, we have a new assistant coach, Madeline Bone. She played shortstop at Missouri Baptist and spent her first year out of school as an assistant at Fontbonne, RIP Fontbonne University. She's also been an instructor at DTJ Sports Academy in St. Charles, head coach of the St. Louis Pirates Fast Pitch Club, among other club and youth coaching experience. So she's actually done a fair bit of coaching for somebody who is pretty fresh out of school. At Mobab, she played 5 seasons. She was team captain for her final 2 years, named all conference 3 times, and made academic all conference every year she was there. So quite a career she put together there. Really impressive. And she has a master's in accounting. I saw because she was there for 5 years and did the 5 year accounting thing, which is
well, she'll
always
need that degree. Well, with
it's
the budget.
yeah,
With
that's right.
the uh,
Yeah, make this work. But yeah, so good young addition to the softball staff.
we finally got a field hockey schedule. I don't want to say it's a coincidence that it just came out, but with little to no fanfare, by the way, still little to no fanfare.
I,
Why are we not discussing the fact that we have a new on-campus field?
I would like to think that this week there's going to be some kind of, because they still have what 2.5 weeks before this first home game here, first
Yeah.
exhibition game. So I would like to think they're timing it right, like
Yes.
that, like they're
Dear
not trying
Lord,
to do it.
please, I do not want to get on this podcast on August 25th at 8 p.m. Actually, I won't. It'll be. It'll be Monday night. We'll record probably, or Tuesday night. I don't want to get on this podcast after Sunday the 25th
Yeah,
and have to bitch and moan about this. It is insane that we are not. That SLU is not celebrating this game in some way, shape, or form. Invite all your men's basketball season ticket holders out to this game. You've got
yeah.
a massive list. Like, see how many freaking people you can pack outside around that field. I don't care if there's no seating. I don't care if there's no bathrooms. It'll be ridiculous. Just for the
Yeah.
ridiculousness of it.
It's got to be. I have to think it's a timing thing. We've got 1 week before the first exhibition game at Ball State. They play another one Saturday the 17th at Iowa, and then, as you said, Sunday the 25th at 11 a.m. They will play Maryville at home at their new facility.
It is an exhibition, but
Yeah, exhibition on the South Campus. But then they have their first regular season game Friday, August 30th at 1 p.m. against Central Michigan, also on the home field. And then that Sunday they host Bellarmine. So 3 games in the span of 8 days there at home, Zach. And
yeah.
good way to show off the new facility. And like you said, anybody who is a ticket holder of any kind or athletic supporter of any kind at SLU, I think really soon should get some kind of email blast saying like, hey, it's open. Come see the first one for free.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what.
I doubt they're even. I mean, Even if they're not selling tickets, just come out.
Yeah, just come out. Come check the place out. Come support them.
Offer free for like, pizza. Just get a million
Yeah.
pizzas. Screw it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that there are quite a few more. I do think we're seeing a lot better scheduling here, as far as times and dates.
Yes.
Um,
Which is something that comes with having your own
yes,
facility,
yes.
right?
Obviously, you got a 1 p.m. Sunday game, Bellarmine, a noon Sunday game against Ball State. You've got an A10. I'm not even going to count A10 games because they're probably scheduled for them. You've
Right.
got Frostburg State Sunday at 12 p.m. Awesome name, by the way.
Yeah.
You've got Stonehill. Wait, that's weird. That's wrong. It's got to say at Stonehill. It says versus Stonehill. BK, come on.
Oh, yeah. Small.
Sunday versus Maryville. I mean, all their non-conference games are on Sundays at home. This is big. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've already talked about how just coming on campus makes their lives so much easier. Actually,
does that remind you?
it does remind me, Zach.
I got it. I got the link.
You got it ready? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had talked about before what a game changer you're talking about this is
yeah, go ahead.
You're
This
talking
is
about
hilarious.
all of the Sunday home games and how that's such a nice time for these games. But yeah, take it away.
No, this is funny because so I didn't even know this until I was talking to a field hockey alum and I was telling her about the field and she had no idea. Mind you, she graduated before me. So,
Yeah.
I mean, she's been out of the game a while, doesn't live in St. Louis, but she didn't know. How do you not tell your alumni? But anyway,
Right.
so I'm like Googling something to figure out how to show her what's going on with it. And I sent her this U News article and I didn't even read it when I sent it. I said, oh, here, this is it. But the great part, this is the University News first obtained this breaking news from the Midtown Madness Podcast, a podcast hosted by Zach Miller and Peter Hale about all Billiken athletic news. An interview was then conducted with SLU athletic director Chris May, in which this information was confirmed. Oh my God.
It's fantastic, Zach.
I love
fantastic.
it. God bless you, Emma Broca.
That's who wrote this.
Senior writer who wrote this April 3rd, 2024. God bless you.
She's my
Emma.
favorite writer.
Oh my God. That's
But I mean, the point that we made and that she reminded people of is the quality of life difference this makes for players is massive. I mean, that just to and from field hockey practice or games, every time you go out to Earth City, that's a full hour without traffic, right?
Yeah.
Like going all the way out there and back.
I think it's Maryland Heights, but point taken.
Round trip is Maryland Heights, or is it like
it's Maryland Heights? It's Maryland Heights.
Okay, whatever.
But it doesn't. It's the same. It's the other side. Yeah, you're fine.
Same general area. You know that part of town better than I do.
Yeah.
So anyway, but the point is, like, that's
you could have also been being facetious.
It was like 29 miles or something from campus, like each way. So you're saving an hour round trip commute because now you're just going. You can carpool. You can walk if you feel like it across that bridge.
And I've made this point when talking about working from home. Any car trip under an hour is an hour.
Yeah.
It adds anytime you have to go somewhere, it adds an hour. Anytime. Doesn't matter how far. Now it's, that with an hour round trip, shit. You're talking 2-3 hours then. You got to gather everybody together.
It is life-changing. They can sleep longer.
Yes.
They can spend more time stretching. They can take more time on their meals.
Recovery.
More recovery. They can read more for class. I mean, just every little thing about their lives got better from this thing.
And if they want to go practice just off like men's basketball, they can go in the gym whenever the hell they want and shoot.
Yeah.
I guess not exactly whatever the hell they want. They can't just walk out of their dorm and go hit around. But they can go
pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
I mean, you just have to take a small car ride. It's like sitting around on a Friday night. You're in season, so you're not going out. Oh, let's go mess around. Let's go
Right.
play. So yeah, I think it's huge. But yeah, thank you to Emma Broca for for quoting us in that article, and that's funny. That's
She's twice
really,
the
really
journalist,
funny.
twice the journalist we will ever be.
Yes. On the tennis side, we need to highlight some weird stuff as well, because it's a spring sport, but they do play a fall season, and that begins mid-September. And Pete, as of right now, there has not been an announcement. We don't want to say they haven't hired somebody because we don't know that for sure, but there hasn't been an announcement of a new hire yet. The only thing right now that we know is that Elizabeth Mintasova is listed as a graduate assistant on the roster, and there's a volunteer assistant listed as well. And she was on I don't know. They
He.
were sorry. Yeah, he was on the coaching staff last year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he was, but that's all that's listed right
that's
now.
weird to me. I don't know.
It is. I don't know what the plan is here. It's a tough job to sell. I mean, quite frankly, they made a home run hire last time in
Yeah.
Justin Stuckey because all he did was take a really tough job and then drag this program up to its best
He might win a
record,
national championship
the
in
best
Drake.
records they've ever had at SLU. Making each program a 15-win team last year. So they're going to have to find another guy like that, like or woman, somebody who's in a lower division and kind of on the come up, right? Like
Yeah,
somebody
it's
who's
Josh
willing to,
Shirts. Hey, Joe, wait,
right?
hold on. Is that what they're gonna do?
Josh Shirts this thing, yeah. Go to D2 and
No,
who's
no, Josh Shirts is gonna coach.
oh Josh Shirts himself. He does have it. Yeah, I mean, I
By
wonder
the way,
how much would they need to add to his contract for him to take on a second sport?
I need to get him on the court. Yeah,
I
I
bet
want
he's.
to whip him.
We saw a little bit of pickleball highlights, on Twitter from him, so we know he can still swing the racket.
Oh yeah. Well, that's gonna do it for us, Pete. Billiken fans, thank you all so much for a great season. Thank you all for listening, commenting, liking, tweeting, retweeting, just everything, man. It's been a wild ride. The fourth season, as always, Pete. Go Bills.
Bills.